in order to clear the kitchen table, I've got three landscapes that I want to finish off this morning. So I've even put some gloss on here, thinking I was finished and then realising no, I wasn't finished. And these are part of I've got a bit of a Dorset series going, and these belong in that group. This is an Azo yellow mixed with sky blue, gives that lovely, and I'm just mixing on a piece of rough paper here, gives that lovely green. Morning everyone, welcome to this week's video. It's a strange beginning, but I thought before I forget, I must share. I empty my wood burner every morning, and last night while doing some speedy scrolling, I came across someone called George Egg, completely new to me, and he said when he goes to bed, on his embers he put two raw aubergines, uncooked aubergines. He came down the next morning and made from the cooked aubergines the most amazing baba ganoush with a little bit of lemon and garlic, and the surprise ingredient was a bit of peanut butter. I was sidetracked this morning looking at his other posts, and I just thought I have absolutely got to share. It's so exciting when you find someone that is fun and full of really good creative ideas. Right, I will get this reset and I will see you on the kitchen table. So I'm on the kitchen table. I really jinxed the weather. Last week I said I think the temperature is going to get warmer and I'll get back in the cabin. The sun is shining today, but the temperature is dropped dramatically. There's quite a bit of snow in Scotland and I think it's heading our way down south. So I'm having the best time on the kitchen table. This little one is now framed. I've got another one here that's not fixed in because I'm not sure if I'm finished. So I'll make my mind up if I want to go a bit more on that landscape this morning. I've got one or two landscapes left before I'm all set to start on a series of small interiors. You will recognise this painting. There are a few layers here, and it was going to be my abstract interior. And then yesterday I stood working on that side of the table looking at my paper painting and decided I think I'll do the table and chair on here. So I've got more to go here this morning. I'll find some element on this side. Yesterday I took a risk and it didn't work out. So that wallpaper is now covered in paint, but I thought I wonder what will happen if I push in the wallpaper on here. I did not like it at all. So you have to be ready while the paint, for goodness sake, don't let the paint dry. You could let the paint dry and go over it, but I really felt I wanted to remove it. So with a wet cloth, I just removed the attempt at wallpaper printing and concentrated just on the chair and the table. There's obviously more to go here. Working a little bit also in my sketchbook. I'll put the images in. I used the aquatint pens and a speedy drawing. Did the usual wipe out with white paint
and then started to go back into it.
Now, because I'm so familiar with the table and the chair, just from memory, I put that down last night. So, and in photographs, that's rather a nice chair, and that is from the interior of the house at Scotney Castle back in the summer. So, I want to put these landscapes to bed, and I want to get cracking on some small interiors. I'm going to cut another A1 piece of the Saunders Waterford 425 GM cold pressed paper. I will cut that down into this sort of size. You remember these? This was my very first attempt at painting on this paper, and I absolutely love it. So I haven't finished those off, but I do find it really useful. I've just got this, this is just an old piece of mount cut from white card, and I just use that. It helps enormously to focus when you're working on smalls, to go in frames. So I keep the good mounts out of the way of any paint that I might accidentally splatter on them. Okay, I'm wondering what to put on here, and I looked over at this image, and I think I'll try and put in this chest and maybe put a lamp on it. So I'm just going to borrow a little something from that drawing. I'm just going to go in with my pencil. I decided my acrylics, my small acrylics that I keep down in the house, would be better. I've got a pot of blue, green, red and orange, pale pink, the yellows, black and the burnt umbers and burnt sienna tones in there, rather than have them jumbled up. So that seems to be working quite nicely. I've put down a little bit of orange and white for that salmony tone, tint. So a tint of orange mixed with white.
I put down some salmon on that cushion and immediately didn't feel happy with it. So you can just quite simply take a piece of tissue and rub back. I rub back quite hard because I'm working on a board here. This is a canvas board, so I can be a bit brutal with it. And I exposed the green underneath by rubbing back. Oh, and I'm going in again with the salmon. And I think here, yes, I start to try different effects. I do love a bit of scratching in with a sharp edged tool. That gives me actually a nice bit of texture. I use the salmon paint here. It's just my undercoat. So in my mind, I know that if I scratch through or if I rub back in areas, it would be quite nice to expose a bit of the salmon. So I'm literally just using it as an underdrawing, as an underpainting. It's very simple, very simplistic, and it gives me it gives you a start. I'm smoothing around some yellow ochre here, feeling my way, no pun intended, but just winging it really, just seeing what I think of the colour, where I might like it placed.
So it might be that that's as much as I do for now. I'll let that dry. I will put it where I can be having a little look at it while I'm waiting for it to dry. and come back to it. Little by little then it's starting to come together. There's so much that I can change and that I'm open to and things to experiment with, but that's a nice work in progress.
I could not wait to get to the shops for a couple of aubergines and lit the fire, went to bed, and the next morning.
My expectation is high. The wood burner's really cold. Oh la la! Oh wow! Oh, they look fantastic. They feel empty, so as an experiment I put a couple of potatoes in foil. There's some give on those as well, so they can be finished off in the oven. Now just the job of clearing out. What a delight. I'm really pleased with that. Thank you, George Egg. My ability to like something at the end of the day or at the end of the session painting, and then the next day to not like it never ceases to amaze me. I've been backwards and forwards with this painting. Enthusiastically, I got carried away with my chest of drawers and yeah, really thought I really liked that, and then realised it was too big, it looked like an afterthought, and the whole painting needed to be rethought. I really contemplated this week. I don't think I'll show it, and then I know I have to show it because it's real. I want to be honest, and life isn't just all perfect. And paintings aren't just perfect. I don't know what's happening here. So the chest went, and I decided that I needed maybe to focus, let the chair in the centre be the focus. I'll keep going. That's all I can say. I will keep going. I'll have another play this morning. So looking at it this morning then, it really is, the chair really is very dark. So I think the first thing I'll do is try and lift this. I do quite like the black rug. I quite like this chair, I quite like that chair, I quite like that. I'm not sure what I'm thinking or what that's going to be. So I'll start with the chair. Clean water. I think I'll just try and mix up a green. I've got a medium yellow. Let's have a bit more of that. A medium yellow and blue. And a blue. Let's try the ultramarine. And see. And see what that gives. That gives quite a deep, quite a dark green. I think it needs more yellow. Okay, so this is a lot lighter. I go in very roughly. I quite like that green. There was quite a bit of detail under there. I'm not worrying about that, because what I'll do in a minute is just rub back, and then I'll just take an old piece of tissue. All my paints are running out, and I've got a little order that's arrived from Jackson's of paint. This is probably a moment. If I grab my sketchbook, I'll put that on a page. I do absolutely love pressing and printing in that way. I think when you press into a page, it's instant gratification. I think that's what I like about it. Let's paint this out. Something is saying that perhaps needs to be black. I'm happier with the chair there. That is for me. That says to me, do something over there, and I'll let that dry. Then I have to respond to it. Let's have a look. That feels a bit better this morning. Yes, it feels a bit better. Let's hope I feel the same a bit later. I'll speed this up because I can never. There is nothing so good as an art delivery. So I've got a System 3 Mars Black. I decided to go for the System 3. I do use the tubs of System 3 acrylic and I quite like them. I've got a burnt sienna, a Mars Black, a lemon yellow in here, and a Prussian blue. I've not used Prussian blue, so that will be interesting. This is take 2. I received my Prussian blue and I had a little dab of it in my sketchbook and I like it, and it made me think, how does it sit in amongst all my other blues? So I bought my box of blues. I think I've got everything down from the cabin. And then another thought occurred to me. Why have I never actually done a proper comparison of my really cheap, these inexpensive Daler Rowney paints against something like the Golden or the Liquitex or the professional acrylics? So I thought I'll give it a go. And obviously in my cheapy ones, I've only got a limited, you don't get the full range of colours, but I do have ultramarine. So I'll turn the camera and show you what I thought. So I'll try and zoom in. This is the Prussian blue. So Prussian blue here. Here I've got ultramarine inexpensive and ultramarine golden. The golden gave me one nice even coat and I had to go in twice with the ultramarine, but this, hopefully it can zoom in. It's not that bad at all. I was quite shocked that they're pretty close. This is in the Daler Rowney. This is just called dark blue. And the closest I could get to that to test was Winsor Newton Professional Acrylic, Cerulean, and the Golden Cerulean. And there's a slight difference here in the shading. between these two, and there is a bit more depth on the dark blue, but that's as close as I could get to cerulean. But on the outer edge where it fades, it's not a million miles away. So that was that. That then led me, and I'll drop the clip in. So I've taken a couple of sheets of the acrylic 300 GSM. I've marked it up, that's quite a rough page, doesn't matter. So I've got 6 fairly even squares, and I thought I'd use the guillotine to cut. So I've got my 6 pieces, I'll have 12. I'm going to hole punch these and string them up, and I'm going to paint each one in a blue. So I probably put a bit too much down, but that's okay. One done. I move the paint around, so it's quite nice to see what happens, how it reacts on that paper. So I've got 7 down so far, and another thing has just dawned on me. Every time I get a new paint, I should just have a little stash of squares, and rather than it be one big job, I can just keep adding. So the other really useful thing for me is to write down the make of the paint, whose paint it is, and the colour. So the Winsor & Newton Professional Cerulean, and yeah, that's the golden cerulean. I've gone in very, very casually. I've moved things around with my hands because that registers, that tells me a lot. Where the paint doesn't want to move. So I'm trying to use the same process, hardly any water, and see what I get. The Amsterdam Brilliant Blue has an enormous payoff for about the same amount of paint. I won't bore you with with all my blues. Hopefully by next week I'll have done the blues, and I might have even moved on to the greens or something like that. Why didn't I do this long ago? I do not know. It's time consuming, but it's time well spent while I'm pondering on my paintings. So let me know how you swatch your paints, and it would be interesting to know. Have a good week, everyone. Keep warm, keep cool if you're in those hot countries. Lovely viewers send me messages from hotter parts of the world. I've got a really good world map, and we really enjoy pinpointing where people are on the map. So it's really lovely to hear from new viewers and all my lovely regulars. It's great. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.